The dust has settled on yet another NBA draft.
With the 24th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Portland Trail Blazers select Anfernee Simons from Altamont Springs, Florida.
Anfernee Simons from IMG Academy was going to Louisville before Rick Pitino left there and ended up not playing in college, Jay.
Yo, what's going on, true Blazer fans? It's Torey, and welcome to the pick breakdown for Anfernee Simons, who was selected 24th overall to your Portland Trail Blazers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and check out my 37th pick breakdown, which is, of course, on Gary Trent Jr., the other player acquired in this draft. So I know most people usually put out their pick breakdowns and their reactions within the first 24 hours of the NBA draft. I wanted to sit back and watch some more tape on both of these guys, especially Anfernee Simons, who we're going to talk about right now, because he was one of the rare prospects that I had not seen at least play one full game. I watch a ton of college basketball, so most prospects I will watch for at least a game some point over the season, unless they're a small mid-major level player or something like that. So Anfernee Simons was completely unknown to me. I've seen highlight tapes here and there, but highlight tapes can make any player look amazing. So I dug up some scouting reports, I dug up some other footage, and I feel like I was able to get more of a grasp on who Anfernee Simons is as a person and as a player. First off, I'm probably higher on this pick than most Blazer fans. A lot of Blazer fans are saying, we don't need another guard. We need a small forward. We might need a power forward. However, at the 24th pick in the draft, usually you're going to get a guy who's going to come off the bench in the best case scenario. There's guys like Jacob Evans III and Robert Williams, guys who would have been solid picks that were available at 24, but they're also not very likely to end up being starting level players on a contending team. So my response to the thought that, oh, we need a small forward, you're not going to get somebody in the draft who's going to be a starting caliber small forward next year unless you get some fluky miracle type of pick like the Lakers did last year with Kyle Kuzma. So if you want guys that can help right away, if you don't have a backup at a certain position and you're drafting in the late 20s, you're likely looking to draft a player to fill maybe a backup role and grow into a bigger role in the future if he's able to. And that's why I love this Anfernee Simons pick. I wasn't too high on it at first, but it's definitely grown on me, and I definitely see the thought process that maybe here in a year or two, he could be the third guard off the bench and provide Portland with that dynamic Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams type of sixth man, which they've never really had. A guy that can attack the rim, shoot threes, pull up off the dribble, and do that all at a very high level. Of course, a couple years from now is being optimistic when we're talking about Simons, but it's definitely possible because he does have the raw tools, and the question is when he's able to put it all together into a productive NBA player. With Terry Stotts, who's developed guards well, and Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum as mentors, I do think it could be a little bit quicker than people think. Behind Dame and CJ, you have about 24-25 minutes at a backup guard spot. That's a pretty big role, and Simons is big enough to play next to either of those guys, to play either position. So there's really no problem with taking a guard here in my opinion, because if you were to draft a small forward, he's not going to give you what you need out of that position. He's not going to give you what you need to add at that position. And drafting a guard, you know what? If he ends up being as good as CJ and Dame, that just makes CJ McCollum expendable for something in the front court or a small forward, and you can slot Simons in at that two guard spot. So this is just a long-winded way of me saying that positions don't matter here. Upside matters, because Portland needs as many great players as they can possibly get, and they struggle to trade for them, and they can't sign them, so the draft is the best way to do it. So the player with the biggest chance of being a star, even if he has a very high chance of not amounting to anything, which let me just say, I'm not saying Simons has a high chance of being nothing, but a boom or bust prospect like that is definitely worth taking at this point in the draft. I love how quick his shot is. He honestly reminds me a little bit of Steph Curry off of the dribble. He does get a little bit more lift from his legs, but he has that low set point, but it's super, super quick, man. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to get blocked on that shot with that low set point because he gets that shot off so fast. Damian Lillard has a low set point too. It's not a problem. It's not going to be a problem for Simons, and he's going to be able to be a dynamic off the dribble pull-up threat. His mid-range pull-up is one of the most beautiful pull-up jumpers I've ever seen, and this is a guy who hasn't even played college ball. He's only 19 years old, and Simons' pull-up mid-range jumper right now might be better than CJ's is. Not based off of efficiency, because we have no way of knowing that yet, but based off of how he can do it at a full speed, at a quicker pace running into that pull-up than CJ can, and how fast he's able to transfer that momentum going upwards. It's going to be a bread and butter shot for him at the next level. I do think the two things that will determine his success is if he's able to develop defensively, because of course Dame and CJ aren't the best defenders, so in that third guard, you're going to need somebody who's able to defend. He does have quick feet. His fundamentals are very, very raw. His technique is raw, so hopefully that's something that can be taught. Probably easier to teach that than teaching lateral quickness. So although he's not labeled as a good defender now, I do have some optimism with him on that end. I do think he's willing to put forth the effort to become a good defender. And then the biggest question mark for him on offense, after he puts on strength, because he's going to get pushed around a little bit, going to get pushed off his spots now, but that's going to be fixable once he gets in the weight room consistently with NBA trainers. Once he gets stronger, the biggest question mark for me is he going to be able to finish around the rim? Is he going to be able to get to the rim? Because this is a guy with his quickness, his ball handling ability, and his athleticism, he should be getting to the rim a lot more. But he likes his pull-up jumper so much, he likes his three-point shot so much that he tends to settle for jump shots when he could get into the paint and get to the rim. I don't see him attacking the rim hard enough. And with his athleticism, he definitely should be, but that's something he can learn from Damian Lillard, who's one of the craftiest finishers in the paint and is one of the hardest straight-line drivers in the NBA at the guard position. If he's able to develop some sort of layup package, some sort of craftiness around the rim with his finishes, if he's able to dunk on people, he has a 40-inch vertical, so he should be doing that, then we could be talking about an NBA All-Star. That is the best case scenario, and I see the vision that Neil Olshey and Terry Stotts have for this kid. Anyway, let me know what you think of this pick down below. Let me know if I changed your mind at all. This was definitely a pick that grew on me. At first, it was like, meh. It's a high school guard. I don't know anything about him, so I'm not too enthusiastic about this pick, but the more I watched tape on him, the more I read about him, I got more and more excited. Anyway, make sure you check out my Gary Trent breakdown, and I'll see you guys later. This has been Torey. Go Blazers.